Your turn.
Okay. What did you have there?
It was just a book.
Tommy, why did you hide that candy bar?
I don't have any candy bars.
But I saw you.
That was something else.
Okay.
Why did you take the candy bar?
I didn't take any candy bars.
It's missing!
I didn't take any though.
Why are you lying to me?
I'm not lying.
You are lying straight to my face!
I didn't take any.
Nice.
Your turn.
Okay. I'm feeling kind of nervous.
Why?
Something doesn't feel right. But it's okay. You can go. Go ahead. Roll your turn.
Why did you take the candy bar?
Hey.
I didn't take any candy
Mom,
bars.
Mom, hey. I got this. We're all good.
Okay.
I'll be right back, okay?
Okay. Yeah?
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want you to know I love you and we're gonna get through this.
Okay.
So in this scene, we actually have a couple of things going on. And one of the things I want you to remember is something that Dr. Bruce Perry says. He says, the brain always returns to the way the event was handled the last time. So however the parent or the coach handles the scenario in the moment, good or bad, that's what's going to be planted in the brain, and that's where the brain's going to return to the next time for the child. So I want you to remember that, because in this scene, what we had going on is we had stealing and we also had lying. Now, what you have to understand about stealing is an external attempt to soothe an internal state. So we don't know all the things that led up to how our child was feeling in that moment before he took that candy bar. But what we do know is that he was stressed, he was not thinking clearly, and his short-term memory was turned off. So in that moment, all he's doing is looking to soothe himself. So he takes the candy bar. So the parent has to remember that also, and stealing is very addictive. Becomes addictive over a period of time. You're just always looking for that thing to make you feel better in that moment. The second part is the lying part. First, it's the part with the coach. You know, the coach says, why'd you do that? Automatically, the child says, I didn't do it. Well, what you have to understand about lying is that children lie out of survival. The most common, I'm going to say, the most common misbelief regarding lying is that children lie because they're just trying to manipulate or control a situation. But the reality is that a moment a child is stressed, especially in the moment of lying, just like in the moment of stealing, the brainstem is activated. So then what happens at that level is the worst thing, hold on to this for me just a moment, the worst thing that ever happened is threatening to happen again. So the worst thing that ever happened in a child's life, in that moment of the lying or the stealing, is now threatening to happen again. So that's why the child lies, because they literally move into a state of survival. Now, 9 times out of 10, parents handle both situations by being really frustrated, usually yelling, usually some level of shaming, some level of disbelief, or I don't believe you kind of energy, which is all stress and fear energy. And so what you saw is, number one, the coach acknowledged that something had happened over there simply by saying, I'm feeling kind of nervous. I don't feel comfortable. He didn't have to say any other words than that. So as soon as he says that, he takes all the threat of the situation off of himself and places the stress back onto the child. So now the child is still left, number one, with knowing they stole the candy bar. Number two, knowing that they put it in the drawer. All right, so that's exactly where we want that experience to stay. Then when the parent walks in, upset, yelling, threatening, you notice that the coach, instead of just listening to the parent, say those things to the child, the coach actually stood up, said, hey, give me a moment, stood up and said, Mom, we're good, and backed Mom out of the room, which lowers the threat energy. So it keeps the Monopoly board from getting all flipped over. It keeps the situation from escalating, because in that moment, Mom's just as stressed out as the child is. And you put two stressed out people together, you're just going to get more stress. So what we ultimately want to get to is we want Mom to realize, number one, that when her child comes home from school or whatever the situation is, he's probably stressed. And if he's stressed, he's looking to soothe themselves. How do children like to soothe themselves? Usually with sweet things. So if you leave sweets out, they're probably going to take to sweets. We don't have to look at that as stealing. Now, we know there are a lot of other ways that we can look at it, but we don't have to look at that as stealing. So set things out on the counter that the child has access to. It could be little mini candy bars, and let them have access to it, because really all they're trying to do is soothe their stress. So that's number one. Number two, when Mom recognizes something that's been taken that's not supposed to be taken, she comes up, she's keeping in the back of her mind that her child in that moment is stressed. And that no matter if she threatens, if she blames, if she shames, he's just going to hunker down even more and fight back even more. And then she becomes the threat, takes away all the opportunity for the child to feel natural shame and guilt. So when Mom says, hey, honey, are you okay? The okay is coming from a place that she knows her child's stressed. When she says, we're okay, I love you, we're going to be all right, all she's doing is removing all the threat, all the stress off of the child in that moment. And when she walks away, guess who's left with the weight of his actions? The child is. But if Mom's yelling and he flips the board and they get in a fight, guess who's the bad person? Mom is. Guess who's going to enjoy the candy bar to soothe himself? The child is. And he's going to just reinforce how terrible his parent is. But if Mom can regulate herself, back up, recognize her child is stressed, and we can handle it. In the next scene, we'll show you how to follow up with it. Then it's going to move you so much further along.
Yeah.
Hey, Tommy,
Yeah.
you know I love you.
Yeah.
When you tell a lie, it scares me. It makes me feel like you don't trust me. And when you don't trust me, I can't keep you safe.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay.
So lying and stealing, two behaviors that drive parents crazy. So you were able to watch a way that a parent might handle it, a coach might handle it, that ends up not feeling very well. And then you also watched an alternative way. But then you also watch part two. And part two is when the parent came in, and this is after some time passes, and simply just says, I want you to know I love you, I care about you, and everything's going to be okay. Do you understand? The reason the parent does that is because you let time pass. So if you can handle the initial behavior without a significant reaction, like she did earlier in the earlier scene at the door, then you walk away and you allow time to pass. The allowing time to pass is actually allowing the brain stem to relax, allowing your child's amygdala to relax. Remember, that's the fear receptor of the brain. When the fear receptor, the amygdala, gets activated, it stirs the brain stem. In the brain stem is the most painful thing your child has ever experienced. And that moment, it's threatening to happen all over again. So when, as the parent, you can walk away, you let some time pass, you allow the brain stem to relax, you allow the amygdala to calm down. And then when that occurs, then the upper level parts of the brain get to come online. So the thinking gets to come back online, and even more importantly, short-term memory turns back on. So when you come back after a period of time and you say, hey, I want you to know when you tell me a lie, it scares me. It makes me feel like you don't trust me. And if you don't trust me, I can't keep you safe. In that moment, your child's brain is literally in a learning capacity. They can hear you. They don't have to feel defensive. And then by not being in that defended, that guarded place, that place of feeling threatened, they're able to really internalize at a heart level how their behavior, even without saying it, because you didn't say when you lied, you simply said when you tell me a lie. The child immediately thinks, what lie is she talking about? So you don't give them an opportunity to be defended. And that allows everything else to happen. So many times parents think, I'm not doing it. If I'm not punishing them, if I'm not getting onto them, then nothing's happening. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Actually, getting onto them and punishing them is what arrests their brain from being able to learn and remember. And then next time, when that same situation happens, as it's inevitable that it will, their brain returns to the way you handled the last time, which helps lower some anxiety in that moment. And it's in that moment they may actually choose to do something different.